Hi, how's it going? Welcome to my channel, where we dive into the highs and the lows of living with a disability and together find our way to the center of the two extremes. My name is Miguel, and you might recognize Evelyn because she's been in a couple of my videos already. We just thought it'd be kind of fun to talk about driving with a disability for this video. So I'm a little late to the game. I'm barely starting to take lessons again after taking like 7 years off. But Evelyn, on the other hand, she went through lessons and no lessons. It was just a natural thing for you. Yeah, it just came to you. Oh, lucky. No, but you have your license right now.
Yeah.
You have your license, now you have a car, and now you're independent. Since you're the guest, I wanna start with you. So yeah, so she has epilepsy, which
watch my video.
Yeah, so I'll link it down below. But yeah, how does that impact your driving? Or
so when I was around like 17, around that time, I was still having seizures, and so the doctor told me I needed to wait 1 year without having seizures in order for me to try and get my license. So I had been driving with my mom, and she was teaching me, and then that year was almost like I almost had a year without it, and then suddenly I had a seizure, and so then everything had to stop. And so I gave up on driving for a couple of years. You know, I was like, I'm never gonna be able to do this. And then a couple of years ago, I decided to do it again because I had the mentality of, no, I'm just gonna ride the bus, and you know,
right.
There's no need for me to drive. But then came the time where I needed to get a job.
So my brother also had epilepsy, and I know that driving for him I mean, maybe not necessarily for him as much as for us, but it was a scary thing because you can't control when you have seizures, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how was it for you kind of dealing with that uncertainty? Or since you had it under control, was it like, once the doctor said, okay, you've been a year without having a seizure, like, was there still that fear that you might get it? Or
so he had already told me I was fine. He's all like, you can get a driver's license if you want. And so he gave me the green light, and so I decided to go for it. And I had gone, I think it was like a year or two without having a seizure. That's when I decided to actually try.
Right, so there was like ample time that you knew you weren't gonna have, like the risk of you having it while driving was like decreased, right?
Yeah, but the thing was that before I had focused myself so much on that, like not getting a seizure, and this time it hadn't even crossed my mind to even try and get my driver's license. So I was just like, whatever, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't, you know? That's why I took the test like 2 weeks, driving lessons, which was a very interesting experience, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow, I got my license.
Like with CP, you can only focus on physically doing something. Like your brain only has, like, if I'm watching the steering wheel, then I'm not thinking about my foot. Or if I'm, like watching how fast I'm going, then I'm like not looking somewhere else. So like I said, I barely had my first lesson, and that was the biggest thing that I realized was like, it's so exhausting for me because driving is all about multitasking, right? You have to watch everything on the road, like on the sides. You just have to be very alert. And I don't know if I'm just blaming my CP for this or if it's just my lack of practice, but it was a lot for me.
And like I saw that you said that you had a scare. I want to know about that.
So on my first lesson, again, my teacher was really good. He's my old roommate actually, and he like took me into a parking lot to just practice my turning and my parking, right? And when I went in there, there was another car, like, obviously like coming the opposite way, and for some reason I thought that I was like too close to that car, so I overcorrected, and I was like, I was very close to hitting the curve, and so like on it, like And then I went to put on the brake, even though I was like on the parking lot, and I was going like maybe 5. But like in my head, I felt like I was going like 100 miles. But I went to put on the brake, and
you guys are like, phew.
no, that even worse. Like I think my foot just managed to like press the accelerator a little, like not even press it, but just enough to where I heard the car go vroom. Like I didn't speed up or anything, but it was just kind of like that.
Fast and Furious?
Yeah, it was kind of like that, and I was just like, that freaked me out even more, because I was just like, oh no.
I just broke the car.
Yeah, like something, I don't know what went through my mind, but then I just like slammed on the brake, and I was just like, I put the car in park because I had to, calm down. Thankfully, like my ex-roommate, he stayed calm throughout it all, so it was good. And then afterwards, so we got out of the parking lot, we went around, and I did get comfortable. Parking is really hard.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how you guys do it.
So did you park in between cars or no?
No. I specifically looked for places that had no cars or like a very few cars. But yeah, and then after, like, we just drove back and I thought I did really good. I felt really comfortable driving back.
So from where did you drive back?
From the parking lot to where we started, which he found like this really secluded road on the outskirts of the city. So that really helped me because there was no cars. Like the roads were wide too, but there was no cars. So that kind of helped me.
So what made you decide to actually drive? Like, did they influence you? Did he say, let's go for a drive? Or did you tell him?
No, so, I mean, yes and no. So driving, as you know, it's been something that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah, so when I got my driver's license, he kept saying he was going to get he was going to get his. How many years has it been? Almost 4 years?
It's been a while.
Almost 4 years since he said that.
There's always, yeah.
And then he said that like a year ago, and he was practicing with another roommate, and then he stopped, and yeah.
There's always been something that kind of stalls me from getting it, but my roommate, my ex-roommate, he offered to teach me just casually, and I was like, now's the weather is really nice now, so I was like, now is the time. I have to get my license.
Coronavirus!
I'm hoping that it gets easier, which I think it will. And like I said, for not driving at all for 7 years, at all, because I took the driver's ed class in high school and I passed it, yeah. So literally, I had my permit, I just never got my license.
Why?
Which is my own stupid mistake. Now that you have your license, how does it feel like, and how has it been being more independent? Like, how has that changed your life?
So I feel it's weird because like sometimes I feel now that I drive, I'm still very cautious about it because I feel like just because I drive doesn't mean I can go everywhere, even though I can, and even though I still feel like I can't, like I still feel that restriction there. I still feel like, okay, so I need to be back at this certain time because I was so used to the bus and so used to calculating like, okay, I have to leave at this time and then I have to come back at this time in order for me to get the bus.
Right.
With driving, it's not like that, but it still feels like that to me. I'm still trying to get used to it. I feel like I'm going to get questioned of like, why'd you take so long? Because I used to not take so long, or if I took so long, it's just different. So it's a learning progress, to be honest.
For the non-driving folk, any words of wisdom or
you're gonna get yelled a lot when you practice. It's gonna be okay. Do not feel pressure to like actually know it right away because it's not like that. It takes time, mainly for somebody with like a disability, because you're thinking about your disability and thinking of how to handle it meanwhile you drive.
Yeah.
So it's not easy, but it's not impossible, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, to everybody who wants to learn how to drive or is learning, good luck. You'll do just fine.
Well, I think that's it for this video. If you guys have any questions or any of your experiences, leave it down in the comments or through social media. Any questions for Evelyn, more so since she is the one with the license, or her experience. But yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and share it with someone who will enjoy it or might benefit from hearing this message, especially with driving. So, like always, I hope you have a great rest of your day, a rest of your week, and I'll see you on the next one.